Hello everyone and welcome to the Cheat Meal presented by Deep Fried Draft. My name is Brian Bosarge. We're now going to continue our draft review videos, and we're going to be here today talking about the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders made headlines on round one of the draft by drafting Garyon Conley, the corner from Ohio State. They make the headlines because a few days before the draft, a report comes out where Conley was accused of rape in Cleveland, and as of right now, nothing has come out about it. He submitted a DNA sample, and a rape kit is in possession of the police, but it's going to take a month or two before anything comes of that. Conley submitted to a polygraph test for several NFL teams, and the Raiders, I guess you would have hoped that they've done their due diligence here and feel like there will be no charges brought against Conley. And to this point, there hasn't been any charges brought against him, any formal charges. So the Raiders have to think that he's going to be exonerated on those charges, because if he's not, this is going to look really bad for the Raiders. But if he is, then they get a very good corner prospect at 24. At 56 in the second round, they pick one of the more athletic players in the draft, and UConn safety Obi Melifonwu. Melifonwu is still a little raw, so to speak, in the secondary, but his athleticism is there. He's showed good ability at the Senior Bowl. So Melifonwu is a player who could join Carl Joseph of their Raiders' first-round pick last year, and forming a tremendous back end of their secondary going forward. In the third round, they picked Eddie Vanderdoes, a defensive lineman from UCLA, who is, when he's on, is one of the top players at his position in this draft. But, and this is a huge but, Vanderdoes has taken a lot of the plays off, so to speak. So he plays with a reckless abandon when he's on, and this showed up at the Senior Bowl. He looked great there, but his tape this year was very spotty. So what player the Raiders getting will determine how that pick looks going forward. In the fourth round, a bit high for Florida offensive tackle David Sharp, but he has tremendous size. Perhaps a player that the Raiders can develop. In the fifth round, they drafted Marquel Lee, a linebacker from Wake Forest. I did not have a draftable grade on Lee. He's probably at best a special teams contributor. They drafted another tackle prospect that I really like as a developmental player in the seventh round. They had 4 seventh-round picks. They used one on safety Shalom Luani, who could definitely be a highly contributable special teams player this year. But their offensive tackle, Jalen Ware from Alabama State, 6'7", 315, long arms, great athleticism, good size. I mean, he's a guy who could definitely make the Raiders team, and I would not be surprised that in 2 or 3 years if Ware's not a starting player on the Raiders' offensive line. I also really love the pick of Elijah Hood in the 7th round. I liked his teammate TJ Logan better, but Hood, who came out early, is great value here in the 7th round. He could be a number 3 type running back for Oakland this year. And definitely I could see him contributing some carries in his rookie season. Raiders take injured defensive lineman from Toledo, Trevon Hester, who has been hurt since the end of the season, but when he played is a solid contributor up front. Some undrafted players of note for the Raiders. They're bringing in Seth Russell, quarterback from Baylor, in on a tryout, I believe. Russell has been injured, was at the Senior Bowl but did not practice. Pharaoh Brown, tight end from Oregon. If you go back to a couple years ago, before his injury, Brown was one of the top tight end prospects available for the draft. Suffered a nasty leg injury against Utah. missed well over a year and a half of football, and this year came back in full, but you could tell that the knee injury just sapped his athleticism away, which is why he's available as an undrafted player. But I think Brown has a chance and could very well make the Raiders team as a third tight end. Ishmael Zamora, wide receiver from Baylor, has some off-field issues, came out as a redshirt sophomore, 6'3", 224, height, weight, speed guy, but had some issues where he was on video beating dogs, and that's just not going to get you very far. It gets you undrafted is what it gets you. Tim White, a receiver from Arizona State, I think is a return man that the Raiders may have an eye on going forward. They brought in 3 offensive guards, 2 on tryouts, but Jordan Simmons from Southern Cal, I think, is a player that can make their team. For a total value grade, the Raiders finished 21st in the league, average value of 18, but their money picks the first 3 rounds, the Raiders 4th in the league. That's going to do it for this review. We'll be back next with the Los Angeles Chargers. See you then.